Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me as always is my co-host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
How? Hi. I don't know why I did that.
I don't know either, but
This is the second week in a row that I've done something really weird and slightly racist.
it's
Very
okay.
sexist.
I think that this time it's the heat because I don't know about you, but here in Nova Scotia, it went from being 4 degrees, which we're talking Celsius here, people. I don't do Fahrenheit. I don't know how hot or cold that is, but 4 degrees is barely above freezing. So 4 degrees a couple of days ago to 34 today, which is like over 100 degrees. It was stupid hot out of nowhere. So I didn't even do my hair today. It's in a braid and you guys just have to deal with it. So there's that.
Yeah, it's hot here too. And we had the same like sort of pattern where it was like really like wintry cold and then now it's like now it's like thunderstorming or something, or it's trying to at least, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just had to change the title in the episode there. So all right, here we are. We're back. We're back into it here. But yeah, so it was so hot today that actually super smart boyfriend told me to put my t-shirt into the freezer. So I did because
Yeah.
we don't actually have air conditioning and it's really, really hot under all these lights in my studio. So I put my t-shirt in the freezer and then I put it on and it lasted about a minute. And now it's just a regular t-shirt. And I was like, oh, I totally thought that would work for like half an hour or something. It didn't.
I've never done that before. Is it something that a lot of people do? It seems
I
like
had never heard of it before about 5 o'clock today, but I was just like, it's so hot, I don't even care.
huh.
Yeah. So, anyways, what have you been doing in the hot, hot weather? I assume you've been staying inside with the air conditioning and therefore playing
Yeah.
many, many games.
I was outside for a split second, only to grab a package that arrived from your house. Yeah, look at this. So Star-Crossed Online is a comic done by Joel Duggan. You may have heard of him.
Once or
Joel
twice,
Duggan.
maybe
Yeah.
76 times.
He's standing behind you right now. I
Through
imagine.
the wall, actually.
Oh, just what? Why'd you put him through the wall, Jocelyn? It's not that.
He pissed me off.
Punch him through the wall. Anyways, I'm holding a commission. It's video game related. It's Luigi's Mansion. Look how awesome that is.
It is really, really awesome. And actually, the camera, like the lighting, because it's just the lighting from your monitor, doesn't do it justice. But there's actually a YouTube video of him coloring it in. And I watched him do it. And man, I'm telling you, it was awesome. And I just, like, he did probably, I think there were 5 or 6 people who backed the Kickstarter. Sorry, the Indiegogo. It wasn't actually on Kickstarter because we're Canadian. But yeah, I think there were 5 or 6 people that actually got commissions, and no offense to all the other commissions, but yours was the best. It was awesome. Although there was one of Sam that was pretty cool of him standing up against the bar, because you don't often get to see Sam from like the waist down, so it was him like leaning back on the bar, and that was pretty cool too. But your Luigi one looks awesome.
I don't know if I can take any credit for that.
Well, you thought of the idea.
I don't know. I'm surprised Nintendo hasn't tried to take a cut or put
Yeah, really.
advertisements in front of this, because
Yeah.
I was like, I'm playing Luigi's Mansion, so I'm just gonna get Joel to draw me Luigi's Mansion, and that's how that came about.
Yeah.
But once I did bring the package in and sort of marveled at what was inside said package, we did a show called The Gamers Inn, and then right after The Gamers Inn, we had mentioned that I was going to try Defiance, and I did. I wasted my Friday post-show gaming
Not
time.
wasted. Oh, unless it was bad.
I didn't like it.
Oh, so
but-
it really was a waste then.
It felt like a waste. I mean, MMOs sort of, I feel like personally, sometimes they get this weird pass because they're an MMO. Because the combat, it feels like a really shitty, or not really shitty, but just like a shoddy third-person shooter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it kind of does. I find that with MMOs having to be so massive, it's right in their name, that it just,
They
it's
get a
all
pass for
too
some reason.
big and slow, and yeah, like some things feel half-assed. Some things, usually I find really big boss fights are pretty good, but they're so few and far between. It feels like they poured all their resources into one thing, and then they just put things really far apart for the sake of it, and you know, they're really far apart, and you've got these groups of mobs in between because you have to, kill the mobs to level up before you make it to your destination. And, all that's fine, but they're all the same. And I mean, I tried to play, I didn't have a whole lot of gaming time this week because, again, my parents were here last weekend, so they were here till Tuesday. Then I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, and then so basically I just had yesterday and today, so I didn't have a whole lot of gaming time this week. And I tried to sit down with WoW, and normally that's something I really enjoy, but because I'm still my max level, or not max level yet, but my 86 hunter, my main is one I play with Joel, and he's been so busy that I haven't been able to play that one. So I'm like, I have my level 30 panda and I have my level 60 death knight, and I can't get into either one of them because I'm just like, meh, I'm not comfortable with either one of them to PvP. I really like PvPing with my hunter, but I can't do that because then I earn XP. And I tried battle pets, which usually I like, and I tried leveling professions, which usually I like, but I just couldn't get into it at all. And I was just like, ugh, I can't even imagine trying to actually level these characters to max level. I had such a good plan. I was like, I've got one of them that's like alchemy and like herbalism. The other one's like mining and jewel crafting. So I'm like, once I max out jewel crafting, I can make these really awesome mounts. And I was just like, do you know how long that's going to take? It's going to take forever. And I can't get into it.
You can't play any other MMOs.
And every other MMO that I try, with I think the exception of WildStar, I'm really looking forward to that because it's a little bit more sci-fi instead of fantasy. There's still fantasy elements and there's magic type things, but like the spell slingers shoot spells out of guns, so it just has this whole steampunk spin on the fantasy side, and then the rest of it is sci-fi. So, I mean, it's kind of a different world. It looks like they've changed up the combat, sort of, but still, I find that most other MMOs that I've tried, they don't have the stuff that grabs me or keeps me coming back, usually in WoW. And they have all the same things, like combat-wise, story-wise, level-wise, questing. It's all the same.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of people... I've seen on Twitter, actually, after the free weekend happened, a lot of people actually getting into it and enjoying it. And I didn't want to give it more time than I actually gave it. I'm pretty sure I put like a good couple hours into it. And I mean, to its defense, I was playing on my own, but I would think, even if it is an MMO, a solo play should be able to grab me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it shouldn't just all be about the multiplayer, because I'm not always playing with other people. And maybe that's where the fun comes in, when you're playing with other people and you can sort of ignore. But I couldn't ignore it. It's like I was bored. You'd think, like, usually the combat would keep you engaged, but I felt as though it was. And I even put it out on Twitter as soon as I finished, and I think someone got back to me, and only one person agreed with me. Everyone else is like, it's an MMO. Well,
that
sure.
shouldn't be an excuse. That should
No, exactly. Yeah. It shouldn't be. And if that's an excuse, then it's like, well, I'll play WoW, I guess.
You should come back to WoW, and then we can play together, and then it will be fun.
Guess what? Tomorrow is June 1st.
Yes.
You don't remember the conversation we had?
No.
Jocelyn, have you been drinking again? That is not a funny joke. You shouldn't be doing that. You remember last week after the show, we talked about possibly June being the Ryan's going to try WoW for a month and see if it sticks?
Right. I do remember that now.
Now you remember, or are you just saying that? I can't see your face. Yeah, anyways, we'll see how that goes. It's still in the planning stages, aka I haven't put my credit card information into battle.net. So
you should.
I know I should.
It's a great idea.
It is. Sarcasm. What's this? I don't have my sarcasm detector. But anyways, Defiance, I don't recommend it, but I do recommend trying it. If there's another free weekend, give it a shot, because it is different. That's the thing about it, is a third-person shooting MMO. It's different. It's not been done, but maybe there's a reason.
Fair enough.
Just my opinion.
So, have you been playing anything else before I jump into what I played today?
Yeah. So screw Year Luigi, minus the commission. I think that was the best ending to the Year of Luigi. This thing here, Nintendo has started the Year of the Donkey Kong, and Jocelyn made a joke. It's like, I googled this and it's not a thing. It's like, well, that's because it isn't a thing, Jocelyn. I made it up.
Well, I didn't really understand, like, a year of Luigi? So there's just random Nintendo New Year in May?
Well, that's the joke, right? Is that Nintendo said 2013 is the year of Luigi. Okay, not really the
Did
best
they?
year. They did. It's a
Oh,
thing.
okay, okay.
That's where the joke is, because like it seems like the worst year to say year of our second tier mascot. It's like, no, you
Oh, the
need.
year of their second tier system.
Yeah, well, there you go. Or third tier, some people would say. Some people said the Wii was the second tier system. Anyways, we digress. Year of the Donkey Kong, year of Donkey Kong. The reason I make that joke is because I played 2 Donkey Kong games this month.
What did you
So
play?
I played Mario and Donkey Kong Minis March Again, which is. Have
What?
you ever played Mario versus Donkey Kong? You never had a DS, so you never
No.
played the titles. Um, it's a small downloadable title on the 3DS where you play. It's basically a pipes puzzle game. Have you ever played a pipes game
Yes.
before? Okay. So
I vaguely remember you talking about this or some other pipe game, or maybe that was another conversation that I had with somebody else completely. But
Well, I remember-
I've had pipe games in my life in the last week.
well, maybe you were listening to somebody else talk about a pipe game, because this game is actually doing really well. It's got some really good reviews. And this is sort of a departure from the rest of the series in the sense that the other ones were in a pipe game. It was all about traversal and getting the minis from one point of the level to the other. And just so Jocelyn knows, the minis are these little cute sort of wind-up toys, like mini Marios and mini Donkey Kongs, and oh, they're so cute. You just,
So much cuteness.
there's actually a mode where you collect them and then you can go in and polish them and then poke them to make cute sounds. That's how cute they are. So this one is $10 on the eShop, and basically what's happening on the top screen, you see sort of your guy pop up, and there's random squares around there, parts of the pipe maze, and then on the bottom screen you can actually drag. It's kind of like Tetris where pieces will fall down, and you have to grab them and complete the maze.
Mm.
And it's very simple to begin with, and then it just starts ramping up, like it's crazy.
As pipe games always do.
Exactly, because when I started playing, I was like, "This is really easy. I don't know if I like this
How
game."
they get you.
Yeah, because 2 levels later, they're introducing like springs and loops and figure eights and different mechanics. And man, I really wish the Wii U was doing this. Like they had games. I can't wait till next year or 2 years from now, hopefully, when we're having this conversation, but about the Wii U,
Yeah,
Because
fair enough.
DS had the same issue where, sort of at the beginning of the consoles generation, they sort of just didn't have any games.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you had a 3DS, I'd say go buy it. But
Yeah, it's one of those things that I'm toying with actually picking up, but we'll have to see if that actually pans out. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a big investment.
oh, I don't know. Is it?
Yeah.
I guess.
It's like a couple $100 for the console, then you got to start picking up all the titles, and they're what, $40 a game?
Yeah, they are.
So
I'm thinking. Okay, forgive me. I mean, I'm not super.
Not all rich like you, Ryan.
I just
Some
win
of
the
us have budgets.
I've been. Now you make me sound like a snob. I was about to say I've been looking at plane tickets all week, so nothing really seems that expensive when you're trying to plan to purchase a ticket to Utah. It's just like, yeah, your 3DS is a drop in the bucket in comparison to
Flying to Utah.
Utah. Oh my God, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. And the second year of the Donkey Kong game is this remake. I guess I shouldn't say Nintendo's been putting out a lot of titles, because again, Donkey Kong Country Returns is a remake on the 3DS, and it's basically the same game that came out on the Wii. Now, did you play that one, or did you sort of skip over that one?
Which one? The Donkey Kong Returns, I bought it. I think I played the first level, and then I totally forgot that I even had it. Until, like, pretty much right now.
So good.
I had friends over, because it's one of the ones can you play with
Yes.
friends? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Because I remember I used to play Donkey Kong with my friends when we were younger all the time, and so they came to visit me up when I was living away from home, and so I bought Donkey Kong Country Returns because I was like, oh my god, we could totally play Donkey Kong. It'll be just like, back in the day, and yay! And then so I bought it and we played the first level, and then we, I don't know, went and did something else, and I totally forgot that I even owned it until right now, because I mean my Wii never gets used. I moved out of that house into another house and the Wii stayed in the box, and then I moved from that house to my Nova Scotia house and the Wii only just came out of the box like 2 weeks ago. I've been here for a year, and the Wii came out of the box 2 weeks ago and I haven't actually turned it on, but it's not in the box. It's now looking pretty.
Now it's collecting dust.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that before, where you have a bunch of friends over. It's like, yeah, let's go buy a game and play it, and it'll be awesome. I think I did that with Rayman Raving Rabbids 2.
That's too many R's.
I know. It's like triple R, which is better than any other triple, I guess. But yeah, it you buy it, you play it, you have a good time, and then you just never touch it again because you'll never recapture that moment.
That is
having
true.
fun.
That is true.
Yeah, but it's a remake. It's a lot of fun. If you enjoyed it on the Wii and you're looking to play it again, but on your 3DS, I guess it's worth picking up. It's $5 less than a normal 3DS game. But they added some levels at the end. Supposedly they're super hard. And man, I'm reminded that game is really hard.
Aww.
And that's what I'm saying is like you got through the first level or the first world, but this
no, not world, level.
Literally the first.
Literally the first level. We played
cool.
for like 15 minutes.
We should totally play this again, guys. Yeah. Never again. You should. Well, I shouldn't suggest you pick it back up because then you'll be like, oh, jaggies. It's less noticeable, I think. It would be less noticeable on Donkey Kong on the Wii, but
I don't remember noticing it when I was playing, and I was playing on my current TV, which is 720, and I didn't remember noticing it as much on Donkey Kong as I had been noticing it on the Zelda title. So whatever that was called, I don't even remember now. It's so dead to me.
You never did finish that Zelda game?
No.
Oh, that's so bad. It's actually a really good Zelda game.
Is it? Is it?
In comparison to the other Zelda games, but it's not like... we've had that conversation.
Yeah. So I tried my hand today at League of Legends.
Oh, did you get yelled at?
No, I didn't. I actually had the total opposite, experience. It was crazy because I'm used to the only RTS that I play, as everybody knows right now, is StarCraft 2. And I am really bad, so I am in Bronze League. And the people who are in Bronze League are cheesy douchebags. I'm also in Bronze League, so I can say this. But
are you cheesy?
I'm not cheesy. But I find the people I play against are either cannon rushing me or, just generally, doing mean, cheesy things. Like, they, right at the very beginning, take all of their workers and throw them at me. And I'm just like, stop. So, anyways, I'm not having so much fun anymore in StarCraft. So I booted up League of Legends, and I was talking to a friend about it, and he was like, oh, you have to try, it's so much fun, I can't help it, but play it all the time, it's pulling me away from everything else, I love it, including, he said, pulling him away from Dota 2, which is quite a feat, so I understand. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, he was just like, yeah, you have to try League of Legends, but he said, be careful, because or expect people to be jerks. They're going to yell at you and whatever else. So just go with it. It doesn't matter. You're learning. Just have fun. So I was like, okay, so today I wanted to play something new. I wanted to have something to talk about on the show. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to get yelled at, and I'm just going to play this stupid game. So I watched an IGN special on it first. And it was like one guy at IGN who'd never played before and the other guy who plays all the time giving him tips and stuff. So I had an idea of what the layout of the game was and how to play. And then I had these other little tips that he had given to his IGN friend. And then I played the basic tutorial and then a tutorial match, which is where it's the 5 versus 5, but everybody's all AI. So it's, I think it's only an option to play right at the very beginning, but it is an option. And so I tried it and it was fun and I enjoyed it. It was about a half an hour match with the all AI. And then so I was like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? Because what I found really intimidating is that you are either 5 people on a team against 5 AI, or you're 5 people on a team versus 5 other people. And the thing about StarCraft is if I suck, I'm only bringing myself down. Like, I'm not really screwing anybody else over. I play 1v1, so I'm not, like, I'm the only one I'm hurting. But there is no, like, it's all 5v5 in League of Legends. Or I think there is a 1v1 mode, because I've seen 1v1 games played, but I don't really know how you get there. All I've seen is 3v3 and 5v5. But anyways, there's multiple people on your team. So I was just like, yeah, this is really intimidating. But I got in there and I kind of like, you have to choose your spells. You have to choose your champion. What else do you have to do? I think that's pretty much it. That's all that you have unlocked anyways when you're really low level, because I was just obviously level 1 or level 2, I think, because I think you level up once after playing the tutorial. Anyways, so I jump in, I'm really low level, I don't really know what I'm doing, but you can pick if you want to play co-op versus AI at the beginner or the intermediate level. So I was like, well, beginner. And then, so, you know, you just jump in, and fortunately, I wasn't since I already had all my tips in my head, I wasn't the worst of when everyone was doing their selecting stuff, because they were all typing to this one girl, and they were like, so-and-so, do this. No, don't pick that. Don't pick that. Don't pick that. The timer's running out. Don't pick that. Ah! Because obviously whatever your abilities are affect your team, right?
Right.
So I think she picked, and you don't even know if it's a he or a she, right? But I'm just calling her she because she was playing a female character.
Guys never play female characters.
Well, and that's why I'm just putting the disclaimer out there. I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, but I'm going to call her she. Anyways, so she must have, I think some of the abilities only unlock once you hit a certain level. So I think it was like a level 12 ability, and they were just like, you're not going to hit level 12. Don't pick that. Like, use 2 level 1 abilities. What are you doing? So anyways, so I got into the game, and like, she was really, really laggy and not really like paying attention, ended up dropping out like 5 minutes into the game. But I just said to the other people, because they were like using the short forms for stuff, and like I had figured out what like the 3 lanes meant and where people wanted you to go and stuff. But I just said to them, I'm like, guys, I've never played before, so I'm really sorry. And they were just like, oh no, it's cool, we'll help you out. And then so they were just like pinging the map with stuff and telling me to be careful and fall back and then come over to this place and this place. And I was just like, oh, I'm killing it. And I wasn't really killing it, but I didn't do the worst.
Well, because
and then we won. Well, yeah,
won.
Yeah, we did win. No, I was like, there was one guy on my team who was just fantastic, and he like killed, because you get more points for killing champions than you do for killing minions. Basically, what I was doing was keeping my lane kind of free, and I killed a couple of turrets, which apparently was good because they said good job.
Nice.
I was very excited.
Good job.
I know.
Oh, good job, dude.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah, so it was good. I probably should have streamed it or something, because it was pretty funny. It was good for me. I had a lot of fun. So it's I wish I had more time to play today, because I would have played more. But I have no friends on my friends list. So,
and League.
Huh?
You don't have any League. Oh right, League would be separate. I'm thinking of Dota.
Yeah, no, League is separate. I have no friends. So if anyone wants to play with me, feel free to add me. I'm just GIS Gamer, as I am pretty much everywhere else, except for Xbox. GIS Gamer X. Stupid GIS Gamer. My name was already taken.
People put X's on things. It makes them extreme. I never played League, but I did play I played original Dota back in the Warcraft 3 days, and I can tell you, that's like the Wild West, and compared to now. In the Wild West, you could say anything you wanted to anybody, and they couldn't do anything about it. But yeah. I know that Dota 2, when they were developing that, and now that they're working on it, they were well aware of how people are treated. And I think now they have, like, you can report somebody. You can either, when the match is all finished, you can either honor them and say that they were friendly, helpful, or something else. There's 3 different things you can pick from in ways to honor them, and I'm sure that there's some honor point system somewhere on your profile or something. And then you can also report people, and there are tons of different things you can report people for. You can report them for, being a jerk. You can report them for going away from the keyboard, or like dropping out of the game.
You can, which I think there's actually a penalty for. If you drop out of a game, you have like a certain cooldown before you can join into another game. But yeah, there's like 15 or 20 different options of reasons to report a player. So it was quite robust of a like kind of community system, which is, all of this is really impressive because League of Legends is free to play, and it was fun. It was almost like a Torchlight 2 type art direction, I guess you could call it. It was really fun to play. There's tons of people. I think their Twitter account says that there's 35 million people who play monthly, which is insane. Like, that's like, everyone was championing World of Warcraft when they had over 10 million subscribers. Like, League of Legends has 3 times that. It's just, it's insane.
They give away like millions of dollars for tournaments and stuff.
That's another thing. I leveled up with my one match where I played with real people against the AI. I leveled up to level 3, and they gave me their real life currency because obviously it's a free to play game, so there's a store. So you can buy things with influence points, which is basically as you perform well in the game, you gain influence, and then you can buy more champions. Or you can, for 5, 10, 15, on and on dollars, you can buy, I can't remember what they're called, but there's another currency anyways that is worth real money or whatever that you can use for the same reasons to buy champions. Some champions are available for either one of the currencies, but just different amounts. Some of them are only available for real money. So anyways, I leveled up to level 3, and it's like, have 400 points of like the real money dollar points. And I was just like, oh, like, thanks, League of Legends. Like, you just get, I mean, like, it's small. It's like 400 points. I think 650 points is $5. So, I mean, it's 350-ish amount of points. But still, they gave me $3.50 worth of points. So it's enough to buy another champion. So I was just kind of like, wow, that's really impressive. And, thank you, because there aren't a lot of games that will reward you real money rewards for just achieving things in game, like leveling up or getting achievements or feats of strength or whatever you want to call them. So it's really cool.
They're giving you a taste.
Yeah, I love it.
Here's 350, but you need 400 to get.
But that's special. Well, that's what I'm saying though, is that the amount that they gave me was enough to give me one champion. Like, there's different levels, obviously. Some champions are like, there's limited edition things and all that kind of stuff that are worth more and more and more real money points, but there's like 15, I think, give or take, of champions at the like 250 point level. So including one that I really liked playing with, that I played with in the tutorial, everyone's probably gonna laugh at me because she's just the chick archer and that's who I played. Her name is Ash. And she was really cool, and that's who I played in the tutorial, because I like being ranged. I don't really like being melee, ever.
Is that the one that's, like, blue and has, like, smoke coming off of her? Because I'm trying to think, like, most of the League of Legends and Dota stuff are sort of based off of the original Dota heroes, and she was, like, the Drow Ranger or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't,
I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't played enough to, because each individual character has a big, huge chunk of lore attached to them on top of the actual, like, League of Legends world lore. And they don't really tell you anything. Like, there's kind of a little spiel while the game is loading that's just, it's the same voiceover every time. But it still doesn't really tell you anything. And then you just kind of jump right into the game. So there is no there's no story in that. It doesn't, like, tell you anything. You're not questing. You're not working towards any kind of a goal other than just beat the other side. So I know that there's lots of lore, and the League people are probably going to rip me apart. But what I mean is that in the actual gameplay, there's no levels. There's no story progression, but it is a really rich universe. So there's lots of stuff there. It's really
cool. Multiplayer game, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I have to interrupt here because the chat room threw something out there a couple minutes ago that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. But the chat room says that because I am a girl, I was treated differently. And I don't know, like I said, my it wasn't voice chat. My handle is GIS Gamer, which really can go either way, which is why I picked it. Because I don't like getting favorable treatment, and I don't like being treated like I don't know what I'm doing or like a sex object or whatever. Like, I like being gender neutral, at least when I start a game. So I picked my handle for a reason. And aside from playing a girl character, which, as you mentioned, guys do that all the time, there's really no way to tell if I'm male or female, and that's the way I like it. So I don't really think, I mean, I speak in full sentences when I when I type in chat, but I mean, it's not like I'm sitting there writing
what
little,
are you saying about...
No, I'm just, like, I'm trying to think of things that I did that were different than everybody else, but I don't do anything like put little hearts and smileys and, I don't know, sprinkles in chat
what are you saying about girls who play League, Jocelyn?
I don't even know.
See, this is the problem with this. We can't talk about this, like, without offending somebody.
Yeah, but I don't do
to...
things that are... There are things, whether you like it or not, that are stereotypically girly, and I don't do them when I am playing in a gender-neutral role. I just kind of say my sentence of my thing that I want to say, and I'm just like, hey, I've never played before, so sorry in advance. Does that tell you anything about me? Nope.
No. And anybody who says it does is probably sexist. But I mean, and even it's even less so in League of Legends because there isn't a male and female version of every character. So as a guy, I can't look at that girl ranger you're talking about. It's like, oh, she has sweet spells, and you know, it's a girl. Ah, crap. Well, I guess I better be this giant behemoth barbarian guy because I'm a guy. I can't play the girl, you know, but it's unique skills, right? So because you're a guy, you can't experience that? It's weird. I don't know. Like, but in
I wouldn't hesitate to play a guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So,
I see. So you're saying that there's no hesitation there to jump into a different gender role. Whereas
in League of Legends.
Yeah. But in WoW, it's like every character has that choice of male or female. So it's a little bit more, because you have the option to maintain your actual real life gender, it makes it a little bit harder to make that leap, I guess, is what you're saying? Or...
Well, yeah, in the sense that with WoW, if you're playing as a girl, people take that as a logical choice. Oh, she picked to play a girl because she's
probably a girl, yeah.
Which, I mean...
Which, fair enough. All of my WoW characters are girls. Women, girls, whatever. Females.
Yeah, girls, women, females, whatever you want to call them. Call us on that. I mean,
you see the emails now.
I don't know why I'm so touchy. I think I saw that second video go up for that tropes video. And
dear God, don't even get me started on that.
An hour after they posted it, or no, sorry, an hour after it went up on their Twitter feed, they were talking about it. Like, here's our video, and then an hour later they were like, everybody on YouTube reported us for violating terms, and our video got taken down. We'll be right back. I'm like, really, guys?
That sucks. You know, like
you can disagree with somebody.
Yeah. Well, and I think the problem, and I'm not going to get into this.
No, we're not.
But the biggest problem that I have with her is that she disables comments on her videos. And I understand that when she did her Kickstarter that she was harassed and there were some really terrible things said. But if you disable comments, you're basically saying that you don't have any time or respect for the opposite point of view. And that makes me have zero respect for your point of view. End of story.
I didn't realize that she had disabled comments.
Yeah, she did on the first video too. And that's why when people have no way to express that they don't agree with you, then they're going to do things like mass report you for violating terms or whatever and try to get your video taken down or, DDoS you or whatever. When you take away people's ability to debate with you rationally, then you're kind of asking for it. And I don't have a whole lot of time for that. It's basically like saying, this is my point of view. If you don't agree, screw off, and, your point of view is invalid and I don't even want to hear it, and I'm not even going to let you say it. I'm just going to assume that you're stupid and I'm right, and I don't like that attitude, and that's pretty much my biggest problem with her. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of things that she says, and especially like I'm not obviously expert in video games, but I did play a lot of Zelda. It's one of my favorite franchises, and her calling Zelda a damsel in distress makes me really angry. It's like she's never played the game and she doesn't understand the
Whoa.
characters. Like,
Don't say she's never played the game. You have both those people.
I said I
like,
wasn't going to get into this, but it makes
I
me
know.
really angry. It's like Zelda, this is a attractive in that world character. She's 1/3 of the Triforce, making her equal to the ultimate evil and equal to the hero that is Link. She is exactly 1/3. She represents wisdom. Not to mention, when she goes into hiding, she turns into a badass ninja. Like, come on. I don't understand. Anyways, I'm not getting into this. I am not getting into this.
And then someone in the
What
chat room
else
says,
did you play?
Peach.
Okay,
What
that is a
else?
damsel in distress.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But again, does that make
100%.
Peach's choice of life choices any less valid than anyone else's? Anyways,
Hey,
sorry.
I'll be the first one to say I would love to be a princess. I mean, like sitting in a castle all day, making cakes. Man, if I knew how to make cakes, I'd be set. Wow, that came off
Yeah.
as a little worse than I thought it would. But that's what she does, right?
Oh man.
At the start of Mario 64, we said we weren't going to get into this, Jocelyn.
I know that you totally derailed my League of Legends conversation. League of Legends was awesome. You should all add me as GIS Gamer. We will play together and we will have fun. League of Legends.
Yeah, League of Legends. We should talk about that. What else have I been playing? I started playing the Swapper on PC. It just came out yesterday, so I won't talk a lot about it, but I wanted to mention it because it is actually on sale. It's 25% off until next Thursday, June 6th. And it is a side-scrolling traversal puzzle game. It feels a lot like Dead Space in terms of the setting because you're playing like the space guy.
I still
And-
haven't started Dead Space. I got Dead Space 3, I think, as my free EA game, and I still haven't touched it.
Yeah, you kind of Dead Space 3. You're sort of jumping in at the very end, but it's a lot of fun.
But I don't want to give EA money to get Dead Space and Dead Space 2 to just catch up on the story.
That's where you go buy it
EA.
used, and then EA doesn't get anything.
Very true. Sorry, continue.
So it doesn't. It feels like Dead Space in the sense that you're this lone sort of space guy in what appears to be an abandoned space station. So it has that feel, and it even has like talking rocks, just like Dead Space. So it's like spot on.
There's talking rocks.
In Dead Space and in the Swapper.
Okay then.
It makes sense when you play it. They talk. They're telepathic. They don't have like mouths.
Oh, I was totally picturing like big rock mouths.
Yeah, no, there's no rock mouths at this point. It's like, we can't talk about this anymore. The traversal. Have you ever played the old school 2D Metroid games?
Yes.
Okay, so the traversal's sort of like that in the sense that you're moving back and forth. It's a sort of dual stick shooter in the sense that you're using your mouse to point your gun. And you can pull up your map and it looks exactly like Super Metroid, and you can kind of go from room to room. And the whole point so far is like traversal in the sense that you have clones and you have a gun that shoots clones. It's going to make sense in a second. So you sort of hold the button down and mouse over, and you'll see that you'll just see this outline of yourself. It's sort of like a projector ray, and then you can kind of shoot your clone to say an upper ledge, and all of a sudden your clone is up on an upper ledge, and you have the ability to sort of swap with your clone. So that's how you traverse like higher ledges.
So that makes I was picturing like for some reason weird clones of you were just popping all over the place and you had to kill them. When you said you have to shoot the clones. I was like, what?
They're on your side, I guess, and when you move in tandem, so when you move, they move. So say you shoot a guy up here and you're here, when you walk forward over here, they'll both go at the same time.
Oh, cool.
And that comes into play with all the puzzles and stuff. And
Is there any penalty if your clone dies? Like if you walk your clone off a ledge or something?
Actually, no. You want to do that sometimes because there'll be certain puzzles where you can only have 5 clones on screen at once. So say you had to use 5 clones to sort of activate 3 switches, and then you need another clone to sort of go up to the next ledge to grab the item you're going for. You can sometimes walk in a certain direction to move one of your clones off a ledge and kill them, so you free that clone up. It's actually pretty morbid when you
Yeah.
think about it. Because you're constantly killing yourself, and sometimes you'll accidentally like switch control to that clone, kill yourself, and then have to start the puzzle all over again. It's happened to me a few times.
I can imagine. The chat room says it sounds like Metroid plus Portal. So
Yeah, exactly. It's like Metroid and Portal, and the coolest thing about it, and I think a lot of artists like would dig this. Like Joel would probably dig it. It looks fantastic, and it's made completely out of clay.
Really?
Yeah, it's like all clay. I don't want to say, because I don't know how they made it. I don't want to say it's claymation in the sense that they like rotoscoped it and stuff. I think maybe they like did the models in clay and then animate. I don't know, but it's really cool and it looks super unique and very interesting. So when you're in those environments, you're seeing like tin cans and like you start right off in this sort of like um, shit. What are they called? Escape pods, and it's like I don't know why I lost that. Escape pods, and it's like this tin can with a couple straws coming out of it to act as like sort of the boosters, and it's just got this really cool look, and it's just one of those unique like sort of PC only little titles, and it's like 11.25 right now, and it's 25% off, and it just came out.
Oh,
So
wow.
I highly recommend it. It's
Is
really
that
good.
25 off on Steam or is that 25 off on Green Man?
Oh no, this is right off Steam.
Oh, cool.
So you
Because,
just
yeah,
go right.
Green Man is usually the one that offers the deals right away, right?
Yeah, I think this is sort of like this is actually another indie fun title. So
Uh,
similar to Dear Escher and Cube, I think
right.
they were indie
I
fun.
have
So
Cube. I almost played that today, but then I went with League instead. Maybe I'll play that for next week. We'll
so
see.
close.
So close. So Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, Doghouse Systems. Use the code TheGamersIn to double your RAM when you purchase a new gaming rig. 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, but 16 does not become 32. That would be insanity. Head on over to doghousesystems.com and get your order on, which brings us to Quickfire News.
Sony president and CEO, same person, confirms PS4 is a game console. During the All Things Digital conference, Kazuo Hirai stated,
I've totally stopped putting names in my Quickfire if I can avoid it, because I'm just like, oh man, this is just difficult.
half the fun is mispronouncing names. I imagine if they were to read our names, they would. I'm not going to imitate it because that would be mean. But I think they would get it wrong, and we could both laugh, not at each other, but together.
Together.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
Kazoo, I'm going to call him Kaz. Kaz Hirai stated that the PS4 is first and foremost a video game console. Now, don't get old Kaz wrong. The PS4 will do much more than play games. He continued by saying, "We don't want to end there. That's an area we will obviously reveal and talk about in the coming months." So it looks like we'll be getting our TV sports shooter talk from Sony in just over a week.
The Xbox is all about games too, guys. The company announced this week that it will pour $1 billion into development of games, which I feel like is something they just pulled out of a hat. They were just like, okay, we're losing them, guys. What do we say? I know, $1 billion into the development of games for the Xbox One. This is going to include the 15 exclusive titles set to release within the console's first year. Despite the focus of the launch event, Microsoft keeps stressing to the community that E3 will be all about games. However, a patent filed by Microsoft back in 2011 and published on May 16th shows that the company is likely adding achievements for, you guessed it, TV! They are seeking to award users across a TV ecosystem. TV ecosystem is not a game console, and gamifying TV does not count as focusing on games, guys. How long is it till E3?
So, okay, back in the early 360 days, people would go out of their way to rent or buy a game that would give them like 1,000 points right off the bat. Does that mean those people are going to be start watching like American Idol?
They're just
and
going to
whatnot?
leave the TV on and go to bed now.
Congratulations, Ryan Seacrest said something that he says all the time because I don't watch American Idol. I don't know.
They're
You
going to
get
make Xbox into like Get Glue. I'm surprised they haven't actually bought Get Glue.
Ugh, get Clue. Don't get me started on that. They removed everything I loved about it. No, I don't use it. Naughty Dog Naughty Dog will use existing engine for PS4. In a recent interview, The Last of Us game director Bruce Straley said Naughty Dog will not develop a new engine from scratch for the upcoming console transition. Something the studio, I feel like I skipped a sentence, but I didn't. Something the studio previously did for the move from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3. He said tossing out the engine it had at the time and building everything again from the ground up, rather than just changing certain parts as needed, caused a lot of turmoil. Considering how awesome The Last of Us looks, I don't think we should be too worried about Naughty Dog's next-gen outing.
Public hearings into the debt of 38 studios begins. Sorry, guys. It's 38, not 343. 38. I've got Microsoft on the brain. The Rhode Island House received financial and contractual documents pertaining to 38 studios last week and is set to begin public hearings into whether or not the state should pay the approximately $113 million debt, which includes the accumulated interest. The debt resulted from the collapse of the studio that borrowed $75 million from the state that they were unable to pay back when it was dissolved. The state is trying to determine what will happen if they themselves default on the loan, although the current governor, who was not elected at the time the loan was granted, is against defaulting, saying the state should be responsible for its debts. More details will be available when the hearings get underway.
Blizzard may have hit reset on Titan. Earlier this week, VentureBeat got all upset and started shouting from the rooftops that Blizzard had thrown out their work on Titan and started over. Even worse, causing the game launch to be delayed to 2016, which we didn't have a release date. So
yeah, it can't even be called delayed if we didn't have a release date in the start of the whole thing anyway.
If anything, this news story should be confirmed. Titan is coming out in 2016. Yay! But for some companies, this would be questionable. But Blizzard has a track record for restarting development on games. They did it for the original StarCraft and Diablo 3. However, Blizzard gave a bit of a correction. We've always had a highly iterative development process, and the unannounced MMO is no exception. We've come to a point where we need to make some large design, and technology changes to the game. We're using this opportunity to shift some of our resources to assist with other projects, blah, 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 and we haven't also announced a release date. So basically, Blizzard's like, calm down, we do this all the time, we know what we're doing.
Fair enough. EA begins to remove online passes. In a positive news story about EA for a change, the company has started to make good on their promise to remove online passes from their older titles. All new EA titles will be online pass free, but removing the passes from older titles was always a question of how and when. They have also severely discounted or made free some DLC for Xbox 360 titles like Mass Effect 2 and Dragon Age 2, which used to have online passes. EA says that getting rid of the passes will happen with rolling updates over the next few weeks.
What's inside the cube has been revealed. The cube has been opened, and Peter Molyneux on a green screen spilled all the beans in a YouTube video. There was beans. He just poured them all over.
Really? I haven't actually watched it. Did that happen?
You shouldn't watch it, and yes, that happened. Because I'm about to tell you what was revealed, so there's no need to watch it. It's actually really long, and he goes on, and yeah, anyways. In a YouTube video that was sent to the winner, 18-year-old Brian Henderson from Edinburgh, Scotland.
I think it's Edinburgh.
Edinburgh? What did I say?
Edinburgh.
I need to go to Scotland so I can learn how to talk Scottish. As his prize, Henderson will work alongside 22 Cans to introduce his own rules and morals into the game, affecting all other players, basically making him a super god over all the normal gods, which are all the other players. Also, Henderson will get a fiscal reward. Every time people spend money on Goddess, the winner will get a small piece of that pie. When the game goes into beta later this summer, I'll be sure to give Goddess a shot, but please, Brian Henderson, don't be a dick.
He's 18 and possibly about to be rich, so...
He did say he would have fun with it.
Yeah, so that worries me a little. EA shows their support of LGBT issues. I never thought this has happened twice in 1 week, but we have more good news coming out of EA. The company has several events planned for next month and will be flying a pride flag at their Redwood Shores headquarters. Apparently Pride Month is actually a month. I thought it was just like there's Pride Week in Toronto. I didn't realize that Pride Month was a month, but now it's a month. So yay, it's a month. They will be flying the pride flag for a month at their Redwood Shores headquarters. I don't have any more to say about this other than way to go, EA. Which brings us to our topic of the week, which actually we had this article sent in to us on Google Plus, and it was from Lou, and he wanted to know what we had to say about, I can't remember her name now, I'm going to have to open up the article, but she is a writer in the game industry, Susan O'Connor. She worked on Bioshock, Bioshock, the original Bioshock, not Infinite that just came out, Far Cry 2, and this year's Tomb Raider. So she's still working in the industry, has been for a while. I think her career has been about 10 years or so. And she is basically fed up with the industry and how video games tell stories. So it kind of, the whole interview was, it started off on kind of an interesting note, I thought, but went really angry and snarky really quickly. Like,
Yeah.
so, I don't know, Ryan, why don't we just start off with you here? What is an example you think of your favorite story in a game ever, like your best told story in a game, and then your least favorite story in a game? So, good and bad. Let's just get the spectrum set up here.
It's kind of hard to move away from something that just was so awesome that happened recently, which is Infinite.
Yeah.
It feels like a cop-out, but really, like, that is a pretty good example of a really good story in a video game, without it sort of ruining gameplay,
Right.
I guess.
If anything, I would say the gameplay ruined the story.
Well, I mean, and that's, yeah, and that's something she makes a good point about in her interview, and that's why she's kind of upset. But in terms of like the worst story, are we talking like the worst story but great gameplay?
Just generally, like, leaving gameplay out of it right now. Just stories in video games as a genre. What is the worst example you can think of in games?
I don't know. Like,
sorry, I totally put you on the spot. I should have had that question.
There's so many factors. I mean,
I will give
like,
you mine.
sure,
I will
yeah,
say
example.
Call of Duty Black Ops. When you just get thrown in, and I think both Call of Duty Black Ops and Black Ops 2 had me get not very far into the story and just give up because it was either unintelligible or just horrid. Like, horrible. Okay, and the chat room says Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And Duke Nukem.
That's a great story. Duke Nukem, no.
Yeah, no.
Mike Tyson's like, you know, you're running, and you're chasing your coach on a bicycle. It's great.
So, I mean, you can definitely see that there is a spectrum here. I mean, we have things that you could call works of art, really, in games such as Bioshock Infinite in terms of just storytelling, because obviously there are many different ways to be artistic within games, but in terms of storytelling, we have things like Bioshock Infinite all the way down to Duke Nukem. So there is a huge range of good storytelling or just storytelling in video games. So I think the first thing that I thought of when I saw her comments where she was saying it's so hard to tell a story in games and the genre's just not there, and all of her comments, I was just like, the one thing that video games have over movies, for sure, TV, I would say most of the time, is the actual amount of time that you've got the player's attention. You have anywhere from, if you're actually playing a game that has a story to it, you've got, most games don't go below 10 hours. And then you have things like, Skyrim, where you could be putting 100 hours in, and you have all these little pieces of lore you can throw in, and all these little stories you can tell that all have to weave together. I'd say game stories, way more complicated, or can be way more complicated than a 2-hour or 3-hour movie, or a 20 to 24 hour of an hour-long season of a TV show. You know what I'm saying? Right. There's a lot of opportunities there, and I think that to just dismiss the genre, and I know she's obviously an industry insider and has been working on games for 10 or 15 years, and so she's a lot more in the back room than I am, but just, I mean, time alone seems to me that you have a lot more time to say what you want to say, and if you're not taking advantage of that, whose fault is that?
Yeah, I mean, well, when you really look at what she's saying, she's basically saying, okay, I've got this great idea for a story. It's about this girl who is shipwrecked and she has to survive. she has to be reborn as a survivor. She has to learn how to kill and hunt and all that, and it's like great setup for a story. Now, how do we make it fun? Well, we're gonna kill a bunch of people. It's like, okay, but how can we build that into the story? Well, there's this specific moment where she kills somebody for this first time, breaks down crying, and then like 10 minutes later she ends up killing like 100 dudes, and she doesn't do it, and she just like, whew, okay, well, on to the next sort of mountain climbing segment. And it's like, you can't. Sometimes I was thinking about this topic, and I needed to remind myself to choose my words carefully. But sometimes you can't have it all. You can't have the best story ever while having a very fun game. Like, when I used Bioshock as my example, you said that the gameplay ruined the story. Well, the same thing happened in Tomb Raider, where I'm saying, like, it was super fun gameplay to run around and shoot people and use the bow and arrow to basically take dudes out.
Mm-hmm.
But when the story would start taking over, you would see that Lara was really upset with what she was doing. And it's like, I don't know if I can kill these people, and I can't believe I'm such a monster, But
then you get thrown right back into the mechanics of the game, and the mechanics of the game is Laura runs down corridor. Laura or Lara?
Lara.
Lara runs
Where's
down
Church
corridor.
Service?
Yeah, really. Lara runs down the corridor. Lara sees mob. Lara shoots in face, and Lara runs some more. So, complete with bouncing, I'm sure, of her hair, because hair mechanics.
I was supposed to say, yeah, they were really good in all that. Yeah, what you're getting at. You told me we weren't going to talk about this anymore.
But it's so fun to poke you.
Okay, you're the one that gets going on the rants about this. Anyways, you're trying to do it again. But yeah, that's what I'm saying is that, you can't, I don't think you can have it all. And when you have it all, you get something like Dear Escher, which is just walking.
Well, I would say that Dear Escher kind of swung the pendulum fully the other way. That wasn't so much about mechanics, that was strictly 100% story.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that is a swing fully the other way, that it could be argued that ruins mechanics. So you do have to find a happy medium, and I think that, her point that the industry is still swinging too far over in the mechanics direction is almost counteracted by the fact that there are some things, like Journey is another example of something that isn't really so much about mechanics, it's about experiencing the game and the story and the art and what is going on other than just killing dudes. There are still most things, but although she was a writer for Bioshock and she was a writer for Tomb Raider, and those are both games that are in a certain genre where the point is to kill a bunch of dudes. You can't make a first-person shooter and then have them not shoot anybody. And if you want to tell a story, maybe you're working in the wrong genre and you should be working in an RPG or in, I don't know, what would you even call Dear Escher? What genre would that be? Exploration, adventure.
I think exploration is probably the easiest, but I think there needs to be a new category, like just experience, like Journey in a certain would be an experience because but there are goals and gameplay. But
well, exactly. See, so they've kind of balanced it off by giving you goals or achievements or whatever to drive your gameplay forward. Like there's got to be something for you to actually do. But that's actually one thing that WildStar went into a lot more this last week was they talked about their paths concept, but they went into it a whole lot more this week. And you can choose, you have your race and your class like you do in every other MMO, but then you have a path. So if you like to play the game and explore everything, that's your path. You can be an explorer. So you can go around and you can find different things and you can learn about different things and kind of learn a little bit more lore and stuff. And then you could be a scientist and then you learn all about the plants and the animals and the minerals and stuff of the planet, and it's a lot more of inspecting things that you find and collecting things, and all of these things help you basically let you progress through the game the way that you want to play, but at the same time you're still earning things and you're doing things. It's a mechanic in and of itself while furthering the story. So
right.
I think that that's kind of moving towards, which is part of the reason why I'm so excited about the game, is that it seems to be a rich environment with questing and story driven like a normal MMO, but then there's more layers to it. And I think that maybe it just needs to be more, like you were saying, a new genre that is more about exploring that still has some amount of mechanic, but doesn't detract from gameplay the way that Bioshock Infinite did, in a way.
I I feel as though, especially with Bioshock and also with Tomb Raider, when it comes to games, you need to have a suspension of disbelief. You know, you need to be like, okay, I'm not gonna nitpick that I'm just killing all these dudes. I totally love that the story is happening and she's suffering and having a hard time with this new
You
experience and
liked that she was suffering?
well,
Sadistic bastard.
just in the sense that she is all new to this stuff and she's trying to survive and it's not just like, oh man, I don't know how to use a machine gun. Oh, I don't know how to climb a freaking wall. It's like, now I'm super cool and I can, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she's having a hard time going at it, and I can sort of look at that as the story and say, oh, that's a really good story, and then get into the gameplay. It's like I'm having a lot of fun, and they sort of work in tandem. It's not a perfect balance, but it's close. But it just seems like a lot of critics, especially with Tomb Raider, were having a real issue with that balance. You know, they couldn't enjoy one without without like making the other go down. You know, it was kind of always doing this, and we heard a bit about that with Bioshock or Infinite, and it's just I kind of think to myself like, I'm not a maybe that's why I'm not a game designer. I can't really think of a way to make it perfect.
Well, and I think it needs to try to decide who it's trying to please. Are they making a first person shooter that is going to be challenging in terms of combat, that's going to bring about a whole bunch of different abilities and weapons and ammo and kind of do the typical first person shooter thing? And first person shooters tend to do better and make a lot of sense with a simpler story. Now, I know I used Call of Duty as a bad example, but that was, again, I think they tried to go too out there, too kind of convoluted and jumping all over the place. So I think with just a very straightforward, like, we are going to here, we are doing this, we are taking out this bad guy because of this, that works in a first person shooter. I think trying to shove too much of a story into a first person shooter is where the problem is, and I think that they should just realize what they are, and that's the audience that they're going for, and that's who they want to please, and then take that story and put it somewhere that it belongs a little bit more. I mean, because we talked about it earlier on in the show about MMOs, how, you know, an MMO gets the overall, like, oh, well, the combo's not that great, but it's an MMO. It has that excuse. So maybe that's where you should be throwing your big epic story. And I don't know, maybe that's just, they need to reevaluate where they're trying to shove story and look more at each genre individually and say, you know what, this isn't the game where I should be trying to tell my epic tale.
Maybe like Lou is saying in the chat, he's saying, you know, maybe she's making the wrong type of games, and I think maybe he's right. Maybe she needs to, okay, I'm not gonna write a AAA game, you know, because that seems to be the issue. Like, why don't I write a game like a smaller indie title where there is more of a balance and the creative has more control? Like, look at Infinite. The creative had a lot of control, and that's what she's saying, is that the creative doesn't have any control on these projects, which is why mechanics always win out. And with Infinite, like, Ken Levine was constantly there. It's just story. Right. I mean, the gameplay was still there, but it was more of a
More
balanced
than most, yeah.
So I've been doing this a lot.
You have
and
been.
I hope that doesn't
It's
distract
a juggling
anybody.
act.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm glad that she's not rage quitting the industry. I mean, she basically calms everybody.
She kind of was near the end. That was pretty much as close as I've ever seen somebody get to just rage quitting their job in the middle of a random interview.
But who's gonna want to like hire this person?
Well, yeah, there's that. You know, like,
I feel it's like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
They are very strong statements for you to come out and basically say, my industry is broken, I don't like it, I think they're doing it wrong, and, you know, basically just ripping them a new one and saying she hates her job. I mean, if I was building a game, I'd be like, yeah, not her. Which, I mean, again, gives weight to her statements, I guess, in a way, because, you know, you don't go out there and say those kind of things about your job and the industry that you're in unless you're basically willing to get blackballed because of that's what you believe, and that's the story the story you think needs to be told about the industry you're in. So, I mean, yeah. So we just have one really quick question in the notes that I think we should touch on is Ryan wrote down, do you think video game stories are ever going to get to the point that Oscar-nominated movies have got to? Again, I think that there's absolutely no reason that they can't, and again, strictly because of the amount of time. Like I said off the top of the topic, is that, you know, when you have that much time, then even if you say, like, story gets 5 hours and combat gets 15, still, 5 hours is longer than most movies. I can't think of one that was longer than 5 hours ever, so.
Like, what if you were to take Bioshock Infinite and sort of do a Let's Play video where you condense it using all the cutscenes and little pieces of gameplay to stitch it all together to make it make sense? Could it be a story that you could submit to the Oscars and say, hey, this is what we got? Game industry, take it. You know.
Absolutely. I think that it would be a little bit of a, not necessarily a hard sell, but I mean, like, there's not a whole, because of video games as a medium are animated. It would be a very, very dark, like, R-rated animated movie, but I think that the content that they cover with, I mean, there's, and I'm just gonna go really quick Bioshock spoilers, guys, so stop listening now. Okay, so, you know, you've got the whole sci-fi multi-universe thing, you've got, you know, your social commentary on the 1920s, or 1910s, 19 teens, whatever you call them, you know, which includes classism, racism, you know, all of the kind of hard-hitting issues that you're used to seeing in an Oscar caliber movie. I don't really see why there's any, like, I mean, obviously if you're chopping together cutscenes and little bits of gameplay and stuff, it's going to be choppier than an Oscar-nominated movie, but that doesn't mean that it's not covering all the same topics and hitting all the same points that those movies hit, so I don't think it's that far away. I think it's definitely doable.
I think, like, I mean, you'll never see, you know, a game in the Best Picture nominations, but maybe the Oscars might do something like, you know, Best Game Story category.
You never know.
I don't know. Like, I think that's the only way it would work, and I'm not saying that video game stories are worse than movie stories. I sometimes think the opposite. I just, you know, Bioshock Infinite is probably my favorite story this year so far, because I'm not a big, like, Oscar movie story person.
Mass Effect, I think, is another example. I mean, it has been heralded as one of the best sci-fi stories ever told. And that's a video game. So I don't think it's a stretch. I think that they're getting there. I think there's more focus on story than there ever has been in the past. And I think that that's good for everybody all around. It's the video games as an art form conversation all over again, just with a different part of the video game. Instead of it being the art style or whatever, now we're looking at it as, you know, the story behind the art. And I think it's just as valid a conversation. And I think that it's just as valid a point is that, of course, video games are on par with all of these other mediums. Just because they're new and different doesn't mean that they're not up there. Anyways, we are way over on time this week, guys, so I am sorry about that. I'm gonna one quick announcement before we wrap up the show. Our E3 show, our E3 special, will actually be moving from Monday, which we previously announced last week. We are going to be moving it to Tuesday. We still have our special guest who I accidentally woke up at 7 o'clock this morning because I didn't realize that 11 o'clock my time was 7 o'clock his time. So
you're gonna give it away.
Oh no, come on. The west side of North America is a big place. Anyway.
I don't know a lot of people on the West Coast. Sorry, Paul. I shouldn't say that. It's not Paul, but Paul will be joining us.
Never mind. So, our show will be moving from Monday to Tuesday because the Sony announcement will probably be wrapping up somewhere around 11 o'clock Eastern, and so we thought that would be a little bit late for a show, so we will be doing it on Tuesday. We haven't actually nailed down a time yet, but as soon as we do, we will let you know. So watch the Twitter and the Facebook and Google Plus, and we will announce it in all of those places. So if you'd like to visit us on the web, you can do so at gamersinpodcast.com, or you can email us at info@gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on AMove TV along with other fabulous podcasts, including Starcast, Campaign Roundtable, Biggest Fan, and This Week in Blizz. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GISGamer. Ryan is at R. Murphy, and don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. Don't forget to leave us an iTunes review, as it's the best way for our show to reach new listeners. Before we go, I just wanted to give a quick shout out and thank you to my brother Greg for creating our awesome music. You can find him on Twitter at SoundsInfluence. We would also like to thank Joel Duggan of Starcrossed Online, who drew our Twitter avatars and created our logo. You can find him on Twitter at Joel Duggan, or read his comic at starcrossedonline.com. So thanks for staying at the Gamers Inn, and remember to tune in next week.
Bye.